I'm Bable Jonathan, and this is the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinoxe Television, live from our headquarters in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. And in this edition of the news, we shall be talking about inhabitants of Mosogo in the far north region of the Republic of Cameroon who are calling on government authorities to reinforce security in their locality, and they are sending a distress call to the Yaoundé administration after the last attack of Boko Haram terrorists killed 2 persons and left several houses reduced into ashes, and there are fears of another massive exodus of people from the southwest and northwest regions of the Republic of Cameroon as separatists have announced another lockdown throughout the election period and during the celebration of the 11th of February National Youth Day. Opposition supporters in Malawi have been celebrating after a panel of 5 judges annulled the results of last May's presidential election won by President Peter Mutharika. We begin in the far north region of the Republic of Cameroon, where the Nigerian terrorist sect Boko Haram continues killing civilians and setting houses ablaze. The last incident in that part of the country left 2 persons dead and several houses reduced into ashes, and now inhabitants of the locality are calling on the Yaoundé administration to step up security in the locality. Details in this report by Equinoxe.
She is one amongst several victims of the recent Boko Haram attack in Mosogo, Mayo Tanaga division of the far north region of Cameroon. Apart from 2 people killed, houses were razed, vehicles burned, shops invaded and ransacked. Evacuating the locality is the sole option the population have. We are going to Kosa because of the persistent insecurity in Mosogo. Boko Haram terrorists attack us every night. There is no army to protect us. They have carried away everything, including our sewing machines. The attack traumatized me. I am not myself. I lost everything. I don't even know where to start. Amongst the 2 persons killed is a family head slaughtered in front of his children. They brutally killed my father in front of me. I am still a student and I cannot provide for the family. We need help. Even the palace was not spared by the invaders. We have left the palace already. Upon their arrival, they met nobody except vehicles which they destroyed. They have also caused division in the village. According to the population, over 200 Boko Haram fighters made the incursion in Mosogo, where military posts set up to monitor and neutralize Boko Haram jihadists were demolished.
La population a toujours réclamé. Le préfet de Mayo Tanaga écrit.
The inhabitants have been abandoned to suffer despite several distress calls and letters forwarded to Yaoundé for more actions.
Si Mosogo, la population de Mosogo quitte Mosogo, ils vont arriver à Kosa et ainsi de suite. Vraiment, il faut que l'État fasse un effort.
Only 6 military men are in this locality. It is very insufficient.
Vraiment, ce n'est pas facile.
Following the persistent Boko Haram attacks, hundreds of denizens have fled the Turu and Mosogo localities in the Mayo Tanaga division to settle in the central town.
Traveling agencies or travel agencies in the town of Bamenda, northwest region of the Republic of Cameroon, received several persons this morning who were traveling out of the town, though the atmosphere at travel agencies in the Bamenda today was not very much different from ordinary days. It has been attributed to the announced lockdown. Separatists have announced a lockdown during the election period and during the celebration of the 11th of February National Youth Day in the Cameroon's Manjikan Gabriel has more.
A travel agency in Bamenda this Wednesday. It was an unusual crowd that was witnessed at the agency. All looking for a way to leave the town of Bamenda. Even though most passengers denied to talk to our microphones, off camera they confirmed the announced lockdown coming up is the reason for their forced journey. Most passengers who came to the agency late were unable to acquire tickets that will enable them move out of town. With the exodus of the population, many are asking who are those who will cast their votes come February 9, 2020 during the municipal and legislative elections.
And one of the consequences of the deepening Anglophone crisis is the significant reduction in the quantity of blood in the blood bank of the Bamenda General Hospital. We have details with our correspondent in the Northwest region, Bustela.
This is a blood bank at the Bamenda Regional Hospital. It is running out of the life-saving liquid, and the hospital's administrator is worried about the lives of many put on the line due to a deficiency in blood at the bank.
We have a blood bank that can carry hundreds of units of blood. People don't come to donate. So you find that a carer will be running, oh, my patient need blood, my patient need blood. But if that unit is not there, you know blood are of various blood groups. And so if I have a patient now who is in the theater or a gunshot or a road traffic accident and is pissing, blood is oozing blood, I need, if the bank does not have, where do I get it?
Dr. Dennis Same, director of the Regional Hospital Bamenda, alongside his staff, have taken the lead in the blood donation exercise. For
the year 2019, we transfused close to more than 3,300 units of blood, meaning that 3,300 people came here to donate blood, to help lives, to save lives. And since we could not meet up with the need that was up to 5,000, the hospital having close to 500 staff, we have a big community here. We should spearhead this blood donation campaign. You know, usually, the 14th of June is always the day set aside by the United Nations, not so, to commemorate Blood Donors Day, 14th of June. But we say if we want to count only on 14th of June, it will not be enough.
Even at that, the demands cannot be met as almost on daily basis, the Anglophone crisis, accidents among others, continue to render many in urgent need of blood transfusion.
Just the last case we had here where the surgeon, Dr. Jokan, went to the theater, he needed 6 units of blood. 6 units mean that people had to donate, so that we can save the life of this person that had this gunshot injury. And of course, we also have some people like sickle cell patients. And not to forget about the mother and child section, because the first cause for maternal mortality is bleeding.
They are therefore appealing on the population to save lives by donating, as blood cannot be manufactured in any laboratory. Although donors cannot be paid, they have advantages of knowing their health situation, as some checks are carried out free of charge.
If you come to donate, you know that you are going to know your blood group free. You are going to have your results for your hepatitis B and hepatitis C. You are going to have the results for your HIV status. You are going to have the results for syphilis. You are going to have the results of your hemoglobin status.
Blood donation is a service to humankind. By donating, you are helping someone in need, and it can very well save a life.
And the Social Democratic Front SDF district chairman for Kumba 3 subdivision in the southwest region of Cameroon says he's going to drag elections Cameroon to court for violating the electoral code, notably the section 82.82 sub 82.83 of the electoral code, and also for conniving with the ruling Cameroon People's Democratic Movement CPDM political party to bring in voters from other parts of the country to vote for the CPDM in the town of Kumba in the southwest region. Take a listen to him.
In Kumba 2 and in Kumba 3, Elections Cameroon held meetings where they came out with a number of a list for ambulant voters whom they want to deploy in all around Meme to push them to vote in any of the polling stations. The law also states that each elector seeking for registration outside the electoral process must be assigned to a particular polling station. It is put in the addendum of the electoral register under a particular polling station. But we have here close to 663 personnel who have been redeployed to Kumba for the purpose of election and who are not assigned to any particular polling station. Now the explanation we got from Elekam is that they are allowed to vote anywhere. It means that they can vote in Kumba 1, come again and vote in Kumba 2, come again and vote in Kumba 3. That is why we have gone to the court to take a court action whose hearing shall be on the 6th of February against Elections Cameroon, especially in Kumba 1, 2 and 3. We are not against people who want to vote because they have been redeployed. Be they military, be they civil servants who have gone to retirement. We are not against that. We want them to exercise their right, their constitutional right. But the law is the law, and the law must be respected. If the law says that the commission have between the 9th day and the 6 days before polling, that should be respected. If the electoral code says that these people should be assigned to particular police stations, that should be respected. We don't want ambulant voters. The spirit of the electoral law is against ambulant voting. And this is the thing that has been causing problems in the democracy in Cameroon. We want that people should be given a fair chance.
The Kumba 3 SDF district chairman speaking there on his decision to drag Elections Cameroon to court for the violation of the electoral law in Cameroon. And reporters in Kumba went to the Elections Cameroon officials and officials of the CPDM and even some candidates who are running in the upcoming municipal and legislative elections, but they refused to give their own version of the story for now. And now we continue with something else to talk about the elections in the Republic of Cameroon, notably with the National Communication Council that is sensitizing journalists and encouraging them to continue respecting the law and to be builders and not people who will contribute to destabilize the nation, especially during this very important moment in the life of the nation, a period of elections and a period of elections coming in a specific context with the crisis in the northwest and southwest regions of the country. Peter Esoka, president of the National Communication Council, and other members and officials of the council were here in Douala meeting with journalists, and we caught up with Peter Esoka shortly after the meeting, and this is what he said.
We've not noticed many faults in reporting. That's why we are coming out not to condemn, not to sanction, but to encourage. I think what has happened, you know, the difficult situation that we are living at this time. I was mentioning the fact that in the northwest and southwest regions, it's difficult for anybody to go around to carry out reporting. But the journalists have made an effort to do so. And it should be applicable to every journalist everywhere to take their responsibility. I mean, information is worth verifying before it is brought out to the public. And that's the advice I would always give, that verify your information. Be critical, but not negatively. Tell the truth. But you know, there are certain truths that are said, and there are some truths that are not said. So you better be careful in your selection.
Forces of law and order have arrested an individual in the southwest region of the country with a consignment of marijuana that was being sold and was to be sold in other parts of the country. And of course, the individual is under custody, as Derek Jato reports. Derek Jato with that report on the marijuana in the southwest region of the country. And the commander of the 2nd Gendarmerie region is spearheaded the operation that led to the arrest of the individual Ocha Ignatius, who was selling a consignment of marijuana in the southwest region of the country, who had intentions to transport them to other parts of the country for sale. Derek Jato. We're not going to have that report in this newscast. Time for us to talk about the issue in Malawi. Now we're talking about opposition supporters in Malawi who are celebrating after a panel of 5 top judges annulled the results of last May's presidential election, and many of them said this was a victory for democracy after the 2 main losing candidates argued in court that there had been irregularities in the vote. According to the results annulled by the judges, President Peter Mutharika narrowly won for a second term. He was declared winner of the poll with 38.6% of the vote, with under 159,000 votes. That is higher than his nearest rival, Lazarus Chakwara, and President Peter Mutharika has vowed to appeal against the ruling. The vote will now have to be rerun within the next 5 months, but it is said to take place under different rules. The Prime Minister of the Republic of Cameroon, Chief Dr. Joseph Dion Kuti, who is equally the head of government, has praised the infrastructures put in place to host upcoming tournaments, African Nations Championship, the African Nations Championship and the African Nations Cup that will be coming up in the Republic of Cameroon this year and next year. Chief Dr. Joseph Dion Kuti made the remarks this Wednesday during his inspection visit to the sites which have been constructed to host upcoming competitions in the country's economic capital, Douala. The Prime Minister was at Japoma Sports Complex, Bepanda Omisport Stadium, and the training pitches or the training stadia in the Bonamusadi and Mbapelipe. Let's now listen to the Prime Minister in this extract selected by Smart Jikan Gabriel.
I must say I'm extremely impressed with what I've seen. I think what I've seen compares very favorably with world-class standards that you would find in any other country. I think stadiums like this can even host a World Cup event. So I'm very impressed. I think the work is going on, the finishing touches are going on. The essentials have been done, and I must say it's much above my expectations, so I'm very pleased with it, and I just hope Cameroonians would in a few months also come and appreciate this work of art. It's beautiful. So we know Cameroon has been a great footballing nation and still is a footballing nation. And I believe that this stadium is an attestation to the status Cameroon has for itself in the world of football.
That's it for this edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinoxe Television. Join us at 9 p.m. in our special election program on Equinoxe Television. Stay with us.